Shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. Talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls in the WPIAL. Super excited to have you guys tonight. I know it's kind of out of the blue, last minute, whatever you want to call it. Just a little bit of a wild week. Obviously, if you guys are following the socials, I was out at Franklin Regional and the Troy Dolan Wrestling Club last night. That was a lot of fun. On Wednesday, I got the opportunity to do some broadcasting with Keystone Global Media with Matt Leeper and Chris Labart. We covered the Southwest PA girls duels for the first one that they did over there at WJ. That was a lot of fun. That's on their the Keystone Global Media YouTube page. So just been a busy week, a lot going on. So I apologize we haven't had a live show, but here we are, Friday. I know we've had a lot going on. Team States just happened last week. Kaz and myself look pretty good. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. We have sections to talk about. That is going on tomorrow, which everything's kind of the same schedule. I believe everything starts at like 9:30, 9:35, and they run right through. So that's going on tomorrow, all different sites across the WPIAL. Just a bunch of stuff to get into, guys. But yeah, let's also, the other thing I have to say is Matt Leby is going to be coming on, the PIAA state champions. And, we're going to talk about that here in a minute with Matt Taylor. But man, what a weekend it was for the WPIAL and specifically Westmoreland County. Just fantastic stuff. Able to, go out and place 3 teams total, bringing home a trophy with Derry taking 4th. I mean, Derry, kind of a tough spot in the bracket. I'll be honest with you. I did not pick them to come out and take 4th. Obviously, all you have to do is go back and listen to that. It's on, the YouTube Live and stuff. But, they rumbled through the backside of that bracket, defeating Chestnut Ridge, defeating Reynolds. Just impressive stuff to get themselves into the 4th place, a 3rd and 4th place match where they ultimately lost there. But very impressed with Derry there. And, we'll talk a bunch about that. But I think it's just the start for them. And then, on the AAA side of things, I think Coach Leby told me it was the 3rd time in like 17 days these 2 schools have wrestled. Obviously, the section, and then for the WPIAL, and then when you know it, for the state championship. So a lot of fun. I'm excited to dive into it. So without further ado, let's bring on our first guest, Matt Taylor from Inside PA Wrestling. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really good indeed. Thanks for coming on, hanging out with me. I'm gonna try to find the flow brackets here, but as I do that, give me your overall thoughts of the team states in Johnstown.
AA went kind of the way everybody thought it would. 3rd and 4th was a little different. That was kind of a toss-up on who was going to get there. But I think with AA, when you look at it, Faith Christian's still on top. And I think they probably would have won a state championship in 3A, seeing the way they competed, their lineup. Really good. Bishop McCourt just didn't have enough there. AAA, some of the best wrestling I've seen in a very long time, duel-wise. Pretty much every single match was competitive, even in the consolation. So, what a weekend of wrestling it was last week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I agree with you that the AA kind of went chalky. I think all 3 of us kind of picked the same sort of outcomes. But give me your thoughts on Derry. Obviously, this is a WPIAL show. Give me your thoughts on them coming through, beating a team up north in Reynolds that was very, very good. And then obviously Chestnut Ridge that's traditionally good out of District 6.
Yeah, and I thought Chestnut Ridge overperformed for what they had. I thought Burl was going to take him out in the first round. But Derry probably had the roughest side to get on. First, you had to face Penns Valley, which is a really good team. They blew them out in the first round at home there. But then once you get to Johnstown, you got to face Faith Christian right off the bat. Again, incredible lineup. Then you drop down, no easy task because you got Reynolds. And for them to beat Reynolds, that was a really tight duel pretty much the whole way. They get to Chestnut Ridge, started pulling away late in that duel. And you could just kind of see once they got to Bishop McDevitt that those consecutive matches facing top tier competition kind of caught up to them. But really good tournament from them overall.
All right, so let's move on to AAA here. And I'm sorry, I'm still digging for that. That is the only thing I didn't have up. I have all the sections up. But talk about obviously the biggest thing for this area. Not that we expected, the semifinals, 3 in the semifinals, but man, that Connellsville-Norwin match was a barn burner, like we talked about.
Yeah, that was a really good match. Came down to the final one at heavyweight. They battled it out the whole way. I thought Connellsville performed pretty well for who they had to face the whole time. Connellsville dropped down, had to take on Nazareth, who got upset, which we'll talk about. But interesting 2 setups there for Connellsville, having to face Norwin, then having to face Nazareth. But out of all the teams that competed last Friday and Saturday, they had the most matches because they had that pigtail match against LaSalle. So they performed pretty well.
All right. I'm almost pulling that up. All right. Here we go. Brackets. All right, we got them up. All right, Matt, give me your thoughts on the new style flow versus the old style flow. I know it's a big to do.
Yeah, I don't use the new style flow. I don't really like it. If you go to my website, I have all the tournament listed up. That's on my Twitter, but I link all the old ones because I just don't like the way that they have the new thing set up. I guess it's more streamlined. They have more tournaments. They brought in track wrestling, but yeah, I don't like the new setup that they have here.
Well, we're gonna go with the new setup for now, even though that's what we have.
Yeah.
Let's see, put it up here. It's a little bit easier on like a computer. I will say that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, kind of went chalky on AA. The backside, I was impressed with Derry. What are your thoughts on? Obviously, the big hot take is not even a hot take. It's just a lot of the Catholic schools kind of dominate that, and it's traditionally a small school division.
Yeah, I mean, you see that happen, but then you see a duel like in the pigtails where Montoursville takes out Berks Catholic, which Berks Catholic has been very good down there in District 3. The private schools are private schools, especially in AA. They're really good schools. But yeah, I think you could see any of these schools take them on and compete pretty well. Faith Christian and Bishop McCourt, they're on another level. Bishop McDevitt, they're kind of in that tier, but not that high up, not to a Faith Christian Bishop McCourt level. I got the argument a couple years ago about people saying about Catholic schools and private schools getting in. I want to see the best teams. I want to see the best wrestlers. So for me, in a tournament like this, if it's 20 Catholic schools that get in, as long as you're the best wrestlers, I'm fine with it. You see, like in AAA, a lot of public schools got the opportunity to go very far in that tournament. So, obviously AA, you're going to have your top schools that are Catholic and private schools, but you still have room for a Derry to get in there and place, or even a Chestnut Ridge to place. So I don't think it takes away anything. It elevates that level of wrestling. So I think it's good.
Talk to me about, obviously, you're real familiar with Mr. Brent Hare out that way. Talk to me about the match that was supposed to be, then ultimately didn't happen between him and Bo Bassett.
I didn't have like insider information, but I talked to a couple people that were close to it. Kind of the basic sentiment was, this is the weight we're going at. We're going at 45. If things happen and we're in the duel, I think they knew they were going to start at 60, and I think they knew what that duel was going to look like. So only for entertainment purposes was that match going to happen, and I don't think they were up for the entertainment purpose, especially at that point in a duel with 2 matches left. Uh, I it wasn't like he dodged competition because they dropped down in the consolations and he took on Grayson Music, who I had number 2 in the state at the time. So I understand where they came from and not wrestle that match as a fan. Would have loved to seen it.
I agree. Yeah. And I think that, it's possible that we might see it here in the near future, right?
Yeah. They're going District 6 is running through their tournament right now. I just posted about the semis where you have 3 out of the top 5 in the state competing in the semis in District 6 two-way right now. But Bassett went 145. Harris listed 145 in sections in District 4. So, ready, rip, roll for Hershey.
Love that. All right. Let's move on to AAA as I pull them up now. Man, just give me your overall thoughts. Obviously, the Connellsville-Norwin match was awesome there in the quarterfinals. You have 2 WPIAL teams, 2, section teams in the finals. Just give me your overall thoughts as we'll dive into some of these matches.
Yeah, I think the keys there is that those 2 teams kept competing. State College gave Franklin Regional a run there in that first match, and the schools kept competing and they kept putting out the lineups that they needed to win those duels. Especially Norwin, because Norwin had 3 straight matches that were back-to-back really tough ones with Connellsville, Council Rock South, and then Franklin Regional at the end. And everybody was in competitive matches the whole way through. So just the adversity to get to the finals, especially for WPIAL schools, both of them to get to the finals, it's pretty big.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You said it there. The State College win was really nice. Obviously, man, this win right here, the Council Rock Nazareth match, I don't think a lot of people had that on their bingo card as, Nazareth gets upset there in the quarterfinals.
Unless you were a coach or a parent or a wrestler of Council Rock South, I don't think you had it. That's the way that one worked out. And I think, we were all texting during that match. And at some point, I got to the point where I realized, they might do this.
Right. You were getting excited. I was like, really? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it got to a point because I knew Nazareth was pretty weak in the lower weights. So, and that's the way it played out the whole entire tournament with them. Weak in the lower weights, good in the upper weights. If you can give them a run in the lower weights, you have a chance. And Connellsville almost did it too in the consolations, but Council Rock South getting that job done, getting that win, that was huge. That opened the tournament up wide open. Now anybody can win it.
So you get into the semifinals. Franklin Regional takes care of Bethlehem Catholic, and Norwin stops the run of Council Rock South. We were texting it as well, going through that semifinals, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, it's going to be an all WPIAL final." You had hinted that was a possibility, but you didn't ultimately make that call. Ultimately, before we talk about the finals here, just talk about. I just think it's kind of trash that District 7 only gets 3, and District 11 only gets what, 2?
Yeah, 2. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I don't think the District 1 and District 3 should get 4. Obviously, District 1, they wrestle very well in this tournament, so I can't really rag on them. But District 3 didn't have, I don't think they had anybody past that first round. So, to get 4 schools and not get one to go to Johnstown, that's kind of a disappointment, especially when you're seeing some of the schools that could have went there, like Northampton, a Whitehall who upset Emmaus, who had a really good season in District 11 tournament. Then you're talking about Cannon McMillan in District 7 that could have made this tournament, made a run. You kind of look at the schools that are in it, and you look at Palmyra, who's a really good school. Owen J. Roberts, who's got a good program there, but you'd almost like to see WPIAL in District 11 more represented in this bracket.
No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about the final matchup. Franklin Regional Norwin, a match that we've seen 3 times, like I said, I believe in 17 days. Before the match, I told the guys last night, I was like, to beat the same team 3 times in that short amount of time, I just thought Norwin was going to get him. But kudos to Franklin Regional. They just have so many kids in their lineup that are very clutch, and they just find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Salvatore Colangelo there at 107. He got a really big win there, and those two were battling that whole match. So for him to get that win, that kind of separated it. So you knew what Bo Fennick needed to do to get the win there, and because you knew Sidden was probably going to be 6 points, so you needed to get enough so that he wasn't the factor at the end of that duel. These two teams battled the whole way. It was back and forth. I think at one point it was tied, and then they went back and forth. Team point deduction, that was crazy, and I thought that would be more of a deciding factor than it was, but it wasn't. Some of those matches were really good in there.
Yeah, that team point deduction is a little wild. The Chase Smith win over Blasco is wild because Blasco had, I believe, the last 2 wins, and then he reversed that. Firestein, very tough over Klingensmith. They were going to get theirs with Kern and White and Norwin. And, Norwin, just a team, I don't know if I want to say lying in the weeds all year. I knew they were really, really good. But, man, for them to come out and rip and to get to the state finals, just impressive stuff for them. But even more of a congratulations for Franklin Regional, and just made my heart happy to see 2 District 7 teams, my friend, make it there.
It's cool to see a change. I think this is the first time since 2021 that we didn't see 2 District 11 teams in the final. So it's pretty refreshing to see some new teams in there. And I think next year you're going to see, 2 new teams again because how deep AAA is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, that makes it fun. Makes it fun for fans, makes it fun for us because we don't necessarily know who's going to win. But yeah, as we get into the individual season, I'm sure we're going to talk to you here in a couple of weeks when we do the West Regionals. Give me your little thoughts as we do the postseason, I guess it will be.
District 7, I've seen the conversations too between you guys and a couple other people about who qualifies for the WPIAL tournament in next week out of AA and AAA. Some of these sections are absolutely packed with talent. You're talking 4 or 5 deep in some of these sections that you could legitimately win the weight, and you can't really say that in a lot of other areas. Like District 4, it's pretty cut and dry. Here's your top 2. You know who they're going to be. Usually it's top 1 that you know who's going to be. But the WPIAL, man, it's as deep as it gets, as well as District 6 2-way. So, that Southwest West region in AA and AAA, that's going to produce some really good wrestlers here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Matty T, give me any closing thoughts you have as I leave you go, my friend.
It's been a really good season. It's kind of great to see the way it ended last weekend with team wise. Starting to get into individuals, you're going to start seeing some wrestlers who you didn't see before or might not have known of before that are going to jump to the forefront. You're seeing it somewhat today in District 6 2-way if you're ever looking at those brackets here. Some guys are making runs in these tournaments. So, it only takes one tournament to get hot, and then all of a sudden now you're projected to place at the state tournament. So it's going to get wild the next couple weeks, and you're going to see some ranked guys get beat, and you're going to see some ranked guys not make weight, not get to the tournament. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how these guys compete in the next couple weeks, and looking forward to Hershey.
Love that. Matty T, thank you for hanging out with me, buddy, and I'm sure we will see you in a couple of weeks, my friend.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
Later, brother.
Later.
All right. And that was our main man from the middle of the state, Matt Taylor. Of course, check out his stuff at Inside PA Wrestling. He has rankings, he has updates, he has brackets, he has all that stuff on his website. So go check him out. One of the best in the game, man. And I love getting that middle of the state flavor. He kind of brings a different look, different approach, different eyes compared to Kaz and myself. So got to appreciate that. All right, guys, we're about 20 minutes in. I want to give a little shout out to some of our sponsors. Of course, Quest School of Wrestling down there in 84, Pennsylvania. One of my favorite dudes in the wrestling game, in the wrestling world, rather, Mr. Jim Akerley, the legend. Just I love going down there and just kind of hearing him preach, hearing him teach, just talking to the kids. And obviously, he brings some great coaches along with him. Peyton Hall was rolling around down there. I know Connor Schramm's been rolling around down there. Just one of the best clubs in the area. So if you're on this side, my side of the city, the west side, go check out Quest School of Wrestling right out there in 84, Pennsylvania. All right. The other one I have for you guys is right here.
Hi, my name is Antonio Reyino, owner of Reversal Health and Wellness. I've been in healthcare for nearly 20 years and seen the effects obesity can have on someone's health. That's what inspired me to offer GLP-1 therapy at Reversal Health and Wellness. New evidence-based research has shown remarkable benefits of the therapy, including reversing fatty liver disease, improvement of sleep apnea, and slowing the progression of heart and kidney disease. And unlike national online companies, you won't get lost in the mix and you're not just another number. You'll receive a personalized treatment plan tailored to your goals and your health. And if you're not near Newcastle, Pennsylvania, no worries. Telemedicine options are always available. Also at Reversal Health and Wellness, we offer IV hydration therapy. We offer 7 different IV cocktails infused with nutrients designed to restore balance, boost energy, and support optimal health. Rather, if you're an athlete training for a competition, or a fatigued mother or two, or recovering from an illness, IV hydration will benefit you. We're located in Newcastle, Pennsylvania on Wilmington Road at the Maison Building. You can either book online or call the office. Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys. We're going to have Matt Levy on here in just a little bit as he's getting loaded up. I was making sure I had everything good on the back end there. That's why I muted myself. But yeah, so Matt Levy, the head coach of the Franklin Regional Panthers, is going to come on, talk about their run. Just awesome stuff. Like we talked about with Mr. Taylor there, Matty T. Just, I wouldn't necessarily say they were the favorite by any means. Nazareth, I would say, it was the favorite. I think all three of us took Nazareth to win, but that upset just, broke everything wide open, and Franklin Regional capitalized. So I'm excited to talk to him about that. Again, guys, we're going to get into a little bit of the sections. We'll look down through all the seeds of Double A and Triple A. Kind of give your thoughts or give you my thoughts on, how I think some of those will go. I'm not going to give you guys a full-blown prediction. I'll save those for WPIALs and regionals. I think that's, the best time to do that because a lot of these guys, we're going to talk about it, man. There's some of these guys that are top 3 or 4 in these sections that are top 3 or 4 in the West Regional. Just gnarly stuff, guys. Absolutely gnarly stuff. So, we talked about it last year. This new, the way they have it set up, it's definitely different. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's definitely very tough for our region in particular. We kind of cannibalize each other. We, by the time we get to, not me, obviously, I say we, but the kids get to the West regions, some of these guys have wrestled 3 times and, they're just beating each other out to get to these spots at states. And I think, there's a handful of guys that sit at home that, easily could go on a run in place. And you never know after, like Matt Taylor just said, you get hot at a tournament. You never know what happens. So it's just tough to see. And all I could do is sit here on this platform and kind of give my thoughts and hope that someone listens because I agree with what Matt said in that I want the best wrestlers at the state tournament, whatever that looks like. I want the best wrestlers at the state tournament. And I think, you're kind of selling yourself short, but whenever you kind of do it off the population stuff, and there's ways that it could be done, in 2026 that we're in, you know, it's not hard to create a chat room, get it all together. Uh, but yeah, so that was my little soapbox as I was waiting on Coach Levy there. But we're gonna get into the seeds and everything here for sectionals. But before we do that, I'm gonna do one more sponsor for you guys, and then we're gonna bring on Coach Levy. All right. Oh, I don't know where my video file went for that. So I'll just pivot. We're going to do Fox Run Golf Course, ladies and gentlemen, on my side of the city. One of my favorite places to hang out up there in northern Beaver County. That's Beaver Falls area. Just a great place to go hang out. I take my son NJ. I'm teaching him hit some chips and putts around the greens. Just really nice family atmosphere, and they're leveling up quickly. Of course, they are wrestling family owned. The Stroop family, very, very good people. So if you're on my side of the city, the west side, go check out Fox Run Golf Course. All right. Without further ado, let's bring them on. Let's go.
Brother.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Happy to be on, and super still excited for our program and our guys. So thank you for having us join.
All right. First things first. You win the WPIAL tournament. I haven't talked to you since then. Just that's a battle out there at Peters Township, man. Not only just the finals, but the semifinals. It's no joke.
Yeah, I mean when you're dealing with Norwin, Connellsville, Ken, and Mac, I mean, them are just four great programs, and they have incredible wrestlers, incredible community, and so yeah, that was obviously a challenge for us to navigate our way through there. Obviously starting with the Connellsville match, it kind of went back and forth throughout it, and then again getting Norwin again in the final. So certainly was a big challenge for us, and we knew going into there that all four teams were pretty evenly well matched, and I think a lot of you guys talked about it. They can go many different ways, and we're fortunate that we were able to take care of business and come out on the right side of it.
So you get to states, the brackets come out. You look at the brackets. Are you telling the kids, we can make the state finals, or are you telling them one match at a time?
Yeah, I think it's always, with our kids, we were focused on state college, right? Because we know that they're very good. They got some really good individuals up and down their lineup. But we certainly thought if we could get through them, that we would have a great shot against Becca. But we also knew if we didn't take care of business, that state college could beat us. So I think it's we liked our path overall if we wrestled well, but at the same time we knew that state college was a team that obviously could beat us if we wasn't ready to go, and maybe a couple matchups shook a different way. I even look back at our quarterfinals whenever some people thought we were going to get Moon. Obviously we got TJ, which is a great team, great program. They're well coached. There was people saying that we could get upset by Moon that night, which again, when we looked at the lineup for them, we knew it'd be a challenge, and that's kind of my message to our guys all year long. We had a lot of those matches. I think that hey, we certainly have a path to be able to win, but if we're not prepared, ready to go and do the little things right, we're not going to beat teams early in the year, let alone a team like State College.
All right, so let's fast forward to the finals. Well, you guys win the semis. Obviously, I spent some time hanging out with you guys yesterday, doing some video work. Super excited to edit that out and post some of that stuff. I had you guys mic'd up, had some of the kids mic'd up. That game, I cannot wait to post the video of that game. Whatever that headbutt, I guess it was called.
Headbutt, yeah. I still don't know it. So when you post it, I'm gonna try to figure it out myself. I still don't know it, but they got it figured out.
Buddy, it was funny as ever.
Ty Capusta and Bear Murray and those guys somehow it's taken off over these last couple of years.
I love it. And so in that, while they were playing the game, warming up, I was talking to your assistant coach, Greg Sill. and he was talking about, well, one, those two individuals kind of started that game, but also he mentioned to me that the kids kind of got a call from one of the best of all time there to come out of the school there, Franklin Regional, and you guys kind of did a little FaceTime with Mr. Spencer Lee.
Yeah, it was incredible, right? He reached out and he wanted to talk to our guys before, so we kind of played around with what was the right timing, right? That was about 1:00, so it's like, hey, if we have this talk now, right? There's still some time before, so decided to wait till about 2:20, right before we was going to go out and warm up, because I thought that was going to be, hey, like, get to talk to Spencer Lee. I mean, Olympic silver medalist, one of the best, obviously, in the world, and one of our great alumni. So really great talk by them. He was on FaceTime. More like importantly, he talked about how much he remembers winning, especially their second state title when we beat Bethlehem Catholic back at the time. That he named guys on the team that weren't supposed to win, and they ended up, winning in that match. And that's what he said. Most people think of the 5, 6, 7 Division I wrestlers we have on our team, and those weren't the guys that came through to win the dual meet. So kind of went over the importance of everybody playing a role in the process. So that was really, really cool for Spencer, obviously, to reach out, jump on FaceTime, give a great message, and then I think up there we had Nico Magaludis with us too. So he kind of gave a great talk. He's been helping some with our guys, and having those two guys right there before our guys probably went and one of their biggest moments, right? That it was such a special moment for us.
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I was picking Coach Still's brain. He was telling me that story. I'm like, oh, buddy, that is freaking cool stuff.
That's really cool.
Really cool stuff. All right, so you guys get to the finals, man. Give me your thought process. I was talking to Coach Still about it again. The third time you wrestled this team in, what was it, 17 days, I think you told me?
17 days, yeah.
What's your message to the guys? Like, obviously, let's be honest, to beat a team that you guys have been that close 3 times in a row, the odds were against you guys.
Yeah, listen, what I liked about it a lot for us, one, they're a great program. Their coaches do a great job. We got a good relationship with them. So we knew we were going to get great wrestling, right? And for me, it was pretty clear cut. I mean, we knew there was going to be 7 to 8 matches throughout that were going to come down to 1, 2, 3-point matches. And, we believe in our guys, and we think, hey, there was a path to get to 7, 8 wins if we could take care of business in close matches. Now, again, we know how dual meets work, right? It's saving bonus, getting bonus. But I really think a lot in this match, there was 6, 7, 8 different matches that we felt could go either way. And, if we felt if we can get 5 of them, we would come out winning 8 matches. But if it started shrinking down, naturally what usually happens when you got really good guys going, that there's a path to be able to win. And I'm sure they felt the same way against us. But we were fortunate in all 3 matches to come out with 7 wins and a lot of very close contested guys ranked high in the state and things of that nature. We decided to weigh our lineup in a little bit different for Bethlehem Catholic, which put Mikey
Ruben was telling me about that last night. That was pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Mikey's like all of our guys, they'll go wherever we ask them to go. But it was really interesting. We were getting ready and we woke up in the morning and said, hey, you're going to weigh in at 160. They had a kid that was ranked, top 20 in the state at 160. And we knew the way their lineup, that it was, that we had to get him to be able to match up with him. If we left them 52, then they could have just bumped away. And Mikey was so worked up that if we won the match, that it would have been more important to have him at 52 against Norwin. And we said, hey, listen, we got to get through Bethlehem Catholic first. It was just him thinking like, hey, he believed in our team being able to win, that he wanted to be ready for the finals. And said, hey, last time we wrestled you, they won the coin toss. They bumped away from you. So it's no different. Now the coin toss won't matter at that weight, right? You're going to be at 160.
That was kind of my last question before we finish and we kind of get into the celebration and stuff. Talk to me. Do you have 2 different plans for winning the coin toss and losing the coin toss? I always find that really fascinating because I know that's a really big kind of point in the match that before the match even starts.
Yeah, the first one, the big one, you can dictate the matchups. The second one, you better win close matches. So if you lose the coin toss, right? I mean, the only backup plan is, hey, let's figure out a way to win close matches. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, right? You win the coin toss. We did win the coin toss against Norwin, but it really, we was able to move Titus Colangelo up away from Landon Sidden, who's who's great. But the first dual meet we wrestled them, they got 10 points in those two weights. Both the last two, they got 9 in that. We ended up losing close. Titus wrestled a great match against a great kid in Colton Clipless. So I don't really think that impacted it as much, the first time around where they were able to keep that match up together. They came ahead 10-0 compared to 9-0. So we thought by getting Titus up there, he'd have a great chance to win. He lost in overtime last week. And then this week he lost 1 takedown to none. So, Clip was a great wrestler. So we thought that, Sal or Titus could, have a good opportunity to go up there and try to get a win against a great wrestler. And so that's kind of the path we went. But the coin toss, I don't really think played a big role in this time around as much as the first 2 times,
Talk to me about bringing a state championship home to Franklin Regional.
Special. It's special. I think, WPIAL, we all have so much pride here, right? And it's so hard to win a WPIAL championship as you look at the teams that were. So when we won that, the last 2 years, I think it's easy to get caught into. And I think this is a lot of sports that, being around and, when the WPIAL team was like, hey, it'd be great to win a state title, but at least we have a WPIAL title, right? So I think it's like, but when you finally go out there and get that done, what just a different feeling. I've had people reaching out from all over, former teammates, my former head coach, assistant coach, Craig Tone, my head coach, Zeke Jones, my assistant coach, numerous college coaches, all of our alumni, Mikey Kemmer is still coaching now, Josh Shields. I think when you, and all of our other alumni are still competing. I'm just naming them too because they're coaching in college. And I think then you realize how big Pennsylvania wrestling is in 3A to win a state title, right? So I think we always know it's big, but to actually get that done, I think like the amount of outreach and the amount of support was, just blessed, grateful for the people we have following our program and, all the alumni and parents that paved the way before for these guys to, have an opportunity to be successful.
How do you switch these kids' brains from team? All right, now guys, you got to focus on yourself. And now we got to get as many to Hershey as we can.
I think when you're rolling in with Norwood and Connellsville this weekend and a lot of other really good teams, they don't have much time, right? They have high individual goals. And it's not only those 2 teams. I think our section up and down is really, really good. And with those teams being in the final 8, I think it's, we something I've been saying all year to the coach staff, we've been saying, kind of been treating them like professionals, right? They're student athletes. We get that. But it's like, hey, you got weight, you got 2 pounds when we had that big snow, we're going to go out tonight after win a WPL title. Everybody's going to get to have fun. But remember, now you got to make flat weight on Tuesday. So they've kind of took it upon themselves. They have high goals. We've had those talks about like, hey, doing the little things right. And I think at the end of the day, credit to them. They have very, very high goals individually. We got great leaders on the team. Got a great coaching staff, that with Greg Seal, Ralph Petraka, Steve Stremple, that I think really do a good job of help keep them grounded. But more importantly, they do it themselves. They're just hardworking kids with really high goals.
Coach, anything for me before I leave you go?
No, appreciate you. Again, just really appreciate our alumni. We've had so many, great guys go through this program. And, you look, our last state title was 11 years ago to the day from when we won it this year. A couple other cool things. Spencer Lee was actually on the coaches tag that we all got tags up there.
Love that.
Like that was cool. And, one other thing is we always had gold singlets with the older group, I say, and it was like for the finals. Well, this year we went out and bought gold singlets, wanted to change it up. You can only get so many blue. Right. We have a gray one. So we get gold singlets. And it kind of took away from I don't know, you only won them in the finals. And I keep saying maybe it was just meant to be, right? We get gold singlets and it's a golden year for the team. And,
it's just incredible stuff. Just little things like that.
Yeah, we're really just grateful at the end of the day to be able to win, to have such great media coverage. And, my family, my wife, my kids, they're awesome. Just every step of the way there. And then our athletic director, our superintendent, our principals, truly, truly great. We have a great booster support system. So these things like, hey, it's cool. It obviously happens. It's going to be here forever, but it doesn't happen without the support of so many people around them that make this possible. Their families that, a lot of them have great club coaches that impact. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on.
A lot of names will be on that trophy if you can engrave it, is what you're saying.
That's right. I mean, listen, this is like, hey, it's cool. We did it together as a team, but there's so many more people out there that have impacted our guys, our families, myself, that I rely on other people out there in the wrestling world that, Jody Stripman or somebody I talk to a lot, that we have conversations about our guys. So again, this is way bigger than just our little team that was able to get it done this week, but man, it feels great. It's something that we'll cherish forever. And hopefully we can make a little good run at the end of the year with some of these guys, because I know they're hungry to have big goals.
Absolutely love that. Congratulations again, WPIAL state champion, Matt Levy. Appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming in yesterday. That was awesome.
Yes, for sure. Can't wait to release some of that footage, man. I'm so excited.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Later. All right, guys. And that was head coach of the state champions, Matt Levy. Pretty cool stuff there, guys. I mean, obviously, I love just picking his brain, how they kind of do things. Going out there yesterday, watching their practice, talking to Coach Silk, talking to Coach Pacharka, just really, really cool stuff. Just enjoyed myself. Very nice room. Honestly, got the high ceilings. They got the names hung up on the walls. They got the pictures of the All-Americans, the state champions. I mean, obviously Spencer Lease, got Olympic silvers up there. Just, high level program. So very cool stuff. And, one thing I love about, before we kind of switch gears into this individual and why I picked them, and, I wouldn't say that they were the favorite, and Kaz picked them as well. All their kids, I think, believe that they can beat anyone. And that is dangerous. That is super, super dangerous to have as a team. And when you go out there, and especially you put the process together, and especially after, you see some of their teammates take losses to some of these guys, and they turn and flip that script around and get those wins. I was just really impressed. So kudos to Franklin Regional, and kudos to Derry. Again, can't say enough about their run in Double A to come out and take fourth. Obviously, just to start, I went out to TDWC this last night. That was a lot of fun to see him. I mean, Troy was in a complete pit of sweat, rolling around with the guys. That was cool. So yeah, and not too far from that area, not too far from where I was just at, the other golf course I got to tell you guys about, Manor Valley Golf Club. One of my favorite places to hang out on the east side of the city. Of course, Vinny D's track there. Just a great place. Couple bars. They have lights on the front nine if you catch it on certain times in the summer. Just really enjoy my time every single time I go out to Manor Valley. The greens are slick, they're quick, and it's always a lot of fun. So if you're in the area, go check out Manor Valley Golf Club. All right, guys, let's dive into it. Let's pull up these seeds. We're going to rip through these and just kind of talk about it. All these seeds, obviously, it's 6:15-ish, I want to say. The Ohio State Penn State match is coming on in here in about 10 minutes. I'm not blind to that. So there's a reason why we started at 6, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just say that. So let's just dive right into it. We'll share it, do the north. Let's see here. Present the screen. We'll start out in the east, actually. So 107, just looking down here, Wolfslagle for Elizabeth Forward, Keysecker, Thomas for Burrell. Fully expect Keysecker and Wolfslagle to be in the finals there, and Thomas is definitely dangerous. Javion Chambers of Derry, of course, a guy that we're really high on the show, one of Kaz's favorites. But Patrick Bolger, those two Derry freshmen, no joke, ladies and gentlemen. So, obviously keep an eye on them as we run down this individual sections, the WPIALs, West Regionals, then states. So just so gnarly. I will say that, guys. It's a grind. All right. Yeah. Boo Bash, Suber, Thomas, Guzek. You look down this list. I think Boo Bash is probably the clear-cut guy there, but we'll see what happens. Cam Baker, Dylan Bateman in this weight class. Fully expect those two to take care of business and be in the finals. Olsen, Betts, Thomas, Kirk, Lewandowski in this one. Man, tell you what, Burrow and Derry, they've wrestled a lot of matches. Jake Stewart, Michael McNeil, Fox, Somerville, McGeary. McNeil, just a freshman, man. I know that record looks deceiving at 20-16, but him and Stewart I think it's going to be a battle. All right. Another Burrow-Derry battle, much like we've seen most of the year. Bertucci, McNeil, Martinez, Bizup, Duncan there from South Park, just a freshman at 22-9. I think he can make a little bit of noise, so watch out for him. Boyer, Torkowitz, Jones, Lascotti. I like Torkowitz and Boyer, both these guys. Boyer, obviously, my man, is one of the best dudes in the state. I fully expect him to take care of business and be in a really good spot next week at WPIALs. Olsen, Perkins, Guzma, Partlow. Pretty good weight class there. Horwat, Miller, Catullo, Barkey. Another one of the, Catullo, Horwat. I mean, Miller's really good there for Greensburg, Salem. You got to watch out for him as well. Brady Brown coming off an injury. He looks really good. Mundorf from Ligonier Valley. Rocco Thompson. A couple freshmen in that weight class. So that's interesting. Keep an eye on that one. All the way up at 189. You don't normally see some freshmen there. And more of the same here. Ty Blasco at 18-18. He's a freshman. Aiden Kuhn. Peyton Bam. And Tomko there for Ligonier Valley. And for the big boys, Peter, Shannon, Sean, Pabuga, and Mizek. I think that's kind of interesting. I think there's, a couple guys that can win that. Even the Pabuga there for Derry, I've been impressed with him. And Shannon, I've seen him wrestle a couple different times this year. I think he can beat pretty much anyone in the WPIAL. All right, let's move over to the North in Double A. Angelo Bonnie there for Central Valley at 107. Braden McClure from Elwood City. Unfortunately, as we get into the later weights, you will not see Angelo's brother, Mr. Bonnie, Antonio Bonnie. Unfortunately, he had an injury that ended his season, which is a shame because he was like one of my favorite guys to watch wrestle. Just so good in position, so good at, running the corner, just gas tank forever. A lot of fun. All right. Kondrasuk from Laurel, Gearhart from KO, Stroop from Beaver County Christian. Shout out to the Fox Run boys there. Anderchuk from Quaker Valley. Braun from Freedom, Pereira from North Catholic. Ketzel from Laurel. That's a pretty good weight class there, especially the top two there. Andrewchek and Braun. Andrewchek, he's a dog. Nothing. I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know, though. Kosanovic from Avonworth. Shearing from Freedom. Victor Wagner from North Catholic. One of the leaders of that program the last couple of years there for North Catholic. I fully expect him to take care of business, find his way Two WPIALs, McClure for Elwood City. Jeremy Wagner for KO is the 1 seed there. Amelia from North Catholic is your 2 seed. McDonald's your 3. It's an interesting weight class. Oh yeah, another North Catholic boy up there, pretty high, and Wagner from KO, the 1 seed. All right, Brua from Laurel, Jones from KO, Lee Hockey from Central Valley, and Monroe from Ambridge. Couple of Beaver County boys there in Central Valley and Ambridge, KO and Laurel. Laurel, tell you what, man, I was impressed with them. I kind of slept on them a little bit, even though I knew they were going to be really good this year. I didn't think that they were going to be as good as they were. Just impressive team. Ethan Bosco, Harper Sipes, Caden Millward, Cole Stroop. That's a pretty good class there, guys. 3, especially the top 3, all 20 plus match winners at 145 pounds. All right. The AA North at 152, Logan Kroll, Braden McGowan, Josiah Bosch, Roman Rappa there for Freedom. Kroll, 32-5 on the year. Avonworth, another team that I was high on. Maybe not as, didn't do as good as I thought that they could have done, but still a very, very great year for the Lopes. Matt Dana, Braden Reynolds, Braxton Carr, Eli Bosch. Really solid top 4 there. You can even go down to Oris there from Knock at 16-6. That's a pretty good weight class at 160 pounds. 170, Willis, Brenkel, Kropstek, and Bosch, another pretty good weight class there at 172. Willis is watched him wrestle at max. He's solid. Dunlap, Padiglia, Miles, and Sincero Torres. I like Dunlap. I've watched him wrestle a few times this year. I believe at, was it Burgettstown I saw him go? Yes, I think it was Burgettstown. Oh, yeah, Burgettstown and Allegheny County. Colton Carlson, Carson Phillips, DeLauder from Elwood City, Braylon Brown from Avonworth. That Carlson, boys. Well, not boys, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, that Carlson is, he's not only just a badass on the wrestling mat. Go watch some of his football film. Whew. All right. Casey Wilson, Grajewski from Freedom, Catch from Ambridge, and Kelly from Mohawk round out the big boys there. All right. So we did the East. We did the North. Before we talk about the Class 3A South, I got to tell you guys about Pizza Bosa. Pizza Bosa, your premier spot to get a slice of pizza before you go over to the Pens game. Obviously, the Pens are hot. They are rolling. Probably the best squad we've seen in some time. So if you're going to the game and you want to support an awesome wrestling family, go over to Pizza Bosa, right there across the street from the arena. Go grab a slice and, go hang out. Lot of good stuff. All righty. Let's dive into the AA. South. All right, guys. Hanning, Baker, Humphreys, and Quigley there. Delaney, Lemley, Mason, Diltz. Delaney, really tough out of Jeff Morgan. As we go down here, we're going to see a lot of Jeff Morgan, a lot of B-Town, McGuffey, a lot of those Southern AA schools. Tucker, Maine, Medlin, McClure, Stam. I mean, this weight here is solid. These top 3, really, really good. McClure, Medlin, and Maine. Be on the lookout to see who comes out of those 3 up top. Ely, Smith, Patton, and Delaney. Good weight class there at 127. I really like Ely and Danny Smith. And then Noah Patton is, just a young 10th grader, but man, he has won a lot of matches already for Coach Kyle Klein and the Prexies. All right, Lucas Poor, Noah Collins from West Green, Dorado from Hopewell, Shuck from Fort Cherry, Thompson from Southside. Pretty good weight class here. Especially you look at the top 230 match winners, 2 seniors. Excited to see what happens there. McClure, Mason Wright, Carter Caddis, Lane Ely. I like this weight class. Was able to watch Mason Wright a little bit last night. He was over at the TDWC. Drake McClure, we've seen for 3 years now. It's hard to believe that he is a junior, a kid that I've been high on. You guys know that I'm a sucker for a guy that can ride and just shut down anything from the bottom that really shortens matches. And it's a problem, especially whenever you get into WPIALs and states. I always say the top game travels. Okay, 145, Caleb Patton, Emmett Wolf, Bryce Crossan, Wright Weiser there from Burgettstown, Vinny Boers from Hopewell. Caleb Patton, another one of the Patton brothers there for Washington, who's won a ton of matches. But he's going to have to go up and beat Emmett Wolf there in the finals. I'm super excited to see how that one plays out. All right, Jonah Early, Victor Bonus, Logan Noyes, Evan Dorado, and Angelo Mele. Looking down this list here, ladies and gentlemen, Jonah Early is the class of this weight, but Victor Bonus is very solid. Early only 1 loss. Bonus, the senior, 35-5. Noyes is 26-7. I mean, 3 really good seniors there at 152 pounds. All right. Owen Ivsick, Alec Palco, collision course here. Fully expect these two to be in the finals. And Alec Palco, the young sophomore, really, really freaking good. But Owen Ivsick, been one of my favorite kids to watch the last 4 years. And the senior, I think, might be a little bit too much, but could be wrong there. Simpler, Rush, Yeater, Riley, Rocco in this weight class. Supler and Rush, good to see an Abella boy there. And Rush, the junior, I know that Abella just picking their program back up recently after having a couple down years. Malachi Peak, another guy that I saw at the TDWC. He's a freaking dog. I was super impressed watching him go last night. Taggart for Bentworth. Muzi from Avella, another Avella boy there, and Archie from Burgettstown. Shannon Archie. All right, Lehu, Beluga, Williams, Clayton, and Diamond run out the top 5 here at 215. Lehu, a guy that we've seen all year. These two, Lehu and Peak, have been so impressive. And I think Leahy will get the job done as well there. All right. And talking about someone that's been so impressive, this guy right here, Colin White. I could argue maybe one of the most impressive outside of, you have your Landon Sidden. But Colin White, you could argue maybe one of the best guys pound for pound in double A right now. Super, super impressive. All right, guys. We're going to switch gears. We're going to go over to Triple A. But before we do that, we got to talk about the other club that is near and dear to my heart. That is D1 Wrestling Club and James Fleming down there in 51, Pennsylvania. Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania, down 51. Messed that one up. But one of the best clubs in the area. James Fleming, obviously one of the best wrestling minds, Snapper, as he's affectionately known. Just go down, get some work in, man. Really, really cool stuff. I really enjoy going to his club. I have some footage I got to work on for his stuff as well. But, man, Love me some James Fleming and D1 Wrestling Club. All right, guys, let's dive right into the 3A. And I think we'll start in the South. This weight class here, guys, is gnarly. Michael Johnson, Lee Dressman, Parker Jennings, and Bryce Thomas. These top 4 guys, you could argue, are the top 4 guys maybe in the WPIAL, maybe in the West Regional. I mean, they're really, really good. Let's see. Hold on. I did not put that up. Hold on. Here we go, guys. All right. So, again, this weight class here is really gnarly. The top 4 guys here, you could argue the top 4 guys in the entire WPIAL and West Regional. Bryce Thomas all the way down to the 4 seed. There was a time where I believe he was ranked like number 2 in the state according to PA Power. So really interesting stuff there. Okay, McGarity, Hoy, Islamov, Seymour, Carson. You're looking down this weight class, and obviously here, guys, 6 guys make it out of sections to get to WPIALs. So that needs to be said before we move forward. So just looking at this one here, I think there's a good chance to have, those top 6 guys make it out. You got to look out for a couple of guys there below, but we'll expect that. Gardner, Bricker, Kirchner, Nelson, Huff, and Yusupov from Baldwin. I'll tell you what, guys, Gardner, Bricker, I've been really impressed with both those guys. As you guys know, I've been on G. Gardner all year. I don't think it's going to change too much. I think he's going to be really good here, but he's got to take care of business, and we will see how it all plays out. Don't sleep on Floyd Huffy, the senior from Waynesburg. Okay, this is a good one here, guys. 127, Canali, Salo, Hamill, Alex, Elder, Lagulia. I tell you what, I really like the top 3 here. Ricky Hamill, the sophomore from West Allegheny, has been making strides. I don't think that he has enough to break in with the top 2 in this weight. We'll see how that all plays out. But Canali and Sala have been fantastic this year. But really, I'm excited to see how this one plays out, especially those top 3 or 4 guys. All right. Yannick, Snatchko, Emma, Wright, Guthrie, and Valerie from Char Valley. Tell you what, we've seen the Yannick Snatchko match, I don't know how many times, a bunch of times. Will we see it again? I think that we can comfortably say, not comfortably, but there's a good chance that Yannick can make the finals here, coming out of the 1 seed. But that bottom side, that Snatchko Emma match is going to be a barn burner. I'm interested to see how it all plays out. And, I think whoever wins that one wrestles KO Yannick. And I think, if I'm AJ Snatchko, I'd love to have another chance to get at Mr. Yannick. Okay. Collier Hartman, Peter Levenis, Thomas Spensko, Sutter Boykoff from Char Valley, Griffiths from Baldwin, even going down to Crawford, Alt. This is a really good weight class. Tooch is pretty good. Chacon is pretty good. I'll tell you what, guys, this 139 is loaded. I think there's like tiers, if you guys will. Fantasy football guys out there will know what I'm talking about. But I think Collier Hartman, Peter Levenis, and Thomas Benchko is kind of like the top tier. Then you got, the second tier down to Crawford. And then the third tier of Alt, Tooch, and Chacon, I think, are going to be battling to have a chance to get into that top 6. So this weight class is really, really deep. I'm interested to see even the top 6 and how it all plays out. All right, 145, Chacon, Buccelli, Rigotti, Finnegan, Junko, Dennison, Bryan, Miller. Another really deep weight class. I think, we've seen Buccelli win some really good matches, some big matches. Same with Rigotti. I think ultimately, what this comes down to for me, what Aiden Finnegan are we going to get? We've watched Aiden Finnegan win some really big matches. We've watched him lose some really big matches. So I think if we get the right Aiden Finnegan. Could we see him in the finals? Absolutely. So I think he's a guy that's kind of, can detonate this bracket. But also, if you told me it went chalk, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Chacon and Buccelli in the finals. So really interested to see how that bracket plays out. All right, 152, Rook Smith, Logan Slovic, Derek Warstall, Colton Fisher, Carson Gerba, Ben Mayers, Dylan Bonnet run out the top 7. I'll tell you what here, guys. I really like Logan Slovic in this weight class. Rook Smith is another guy that's, he has been there, done that. For Montour, Derek Warstall, another senior for Upper St. Clair, a guy that he can cradle anyone at any time. So he's like one of those dudes, man, you always got to watch out for. I think that he has a good chance to, see Slovic there in the semis. And that semifinal match is going to be really interesting. I think Fisher and Smith, now Gerba has a chance to, upset Fisher there in the 4-5. It's a pretty good weight class there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pretty good weight class. All right. One of my favorite dudes to watch go, Cole Gibbons from Mount Lebanon, 28-4. He's going to be your 1 seed. Mason Calgaro, Luke Poland, Bryce Catanzaro, Mathis Miller, and Tom Cunningham round out your top 6. Again, the top 6 go here, guys. So you look down this list, there's definitely some of these guys that, wrestle. Obviously, Moon has a tough schedule. They wrestled a really good, Max Gold. You can see him maybe making a run. But I really like me some Cole Gibbons and Mason Calgaro in this weight class. All right, 172. Liam Costa, Michael Lawrence, Bear Bruckner, Jack Hunter, Blake Shepis, Corey Skurbitz, Lyra. Tell you what, Liam Costa, Michael Lawrence, Bruckner. This is a really good class, guys. Even all the way down, you go down to Corey Shepis. I fully expect both those guys to have a good chance to make it. I would expect them to make it. West Allegheny wrestled a pretty tough schedule this year. So, yeah, interesting stuff there. But I think Costa and Lawrence are the class of that weight. All right, 189. Ozuski from Moon, Tegan Barr from Trinity, Sir Boykoff from Char Valley, Collins from Cannon Mac, Tuno from Blackhawk, Pusateri from Peters. A lot of 10th graders in that weight, as you guys can see. I'll tell you, it's a good. I mean, even Collins. These top 4 are really good. All 4 of them are really good. All 4 of them can win, in my opinion. Musabek can beat anyone, especially if he get, the things fall the right way positionally for him. Bryce Collins is one of the best guys in the state, I think, when things are right, when he's healthy and he's good to go. Olszewski, obviously, we've seen what he's done this year. So we'll see how this one plays out, but I'm specifically going to have my eyes on the top 4 in this weight class. All right, 215. The other Collins boy, Braden Collins, is your 1 seed. Run Tustin, Ian Olab, Razapur from Moon is your 4. Alozi is your 5, and Kessler from West Allegheny is your 6. There's a tier break as well. I mean, I think it's kind of clear to see the Cannon Mac, Braden Collins, and Ron Tustin at Waynesburg, kind of like a throwback of yesteryears. That matchup, I think those two will be in the finals. And I don't know. We'll see who wins that one. But I think whoever wins that one has a good chance to be one of the top seeds next week. All right. The big boys. Edric Williams, Cam Dana, Dakota Carmona, Alex Avalos, Jacob Haberdale, Lincoln Fisher, and Donovan Goins. I'll tell you what here, guys, there's really that, you look at the top 5 there, even down to Haberdale, all those guys have, 23 or above wins. Even Carmona to have be 23-9. Obviously, we know Cannon Mac's schedule is really good. These top 5, like I just said a couple weeks ago, any of these top 5 can win this bracket. And that will be huge because I feel that, heavyweight's one of the, more wide open classes here in the WPIAL. With the exception, I think Braden McConaughey is probably a little bit of the slight favorite, but again, I'm interested to see how it all plays out. All right, let's go up to the north. Speaking of Braden McConaughey, let's go up to the north, and this one is going to be at Butler, as you guys see on the tab there. We'll start at the bottom. Let's start down there. Let's go backwards. How about that? Philip Rearick, and I always disrespect Mr. Philip Rearick, the returning WPIAL champ. I say that McConaughey is the favorite, but Rearick is the returning WPIAL champ. So no disrespect to Mr. Rearick, as he obviously has something to say. So again, I just think that there's a couple guys that can win this heavyweight class, but heavyweights wrestling is a little bit different. It could get squirrely pretty quick. All right. Cooper Roskowski, Cameron Healy, Tay Bradshaw, Geller there from Fox Chapel, Higgins from Indiana, even all the way down to McElravy from Butler and Matt Knoll. There's a lot of good kids in this weight. It's going to be interesting to see who places in the top 6. I do think that, it's no secret that Cooper Roskowski is the class of that weight. Moving up 189, more of the same thing, I would say here, except that Nez Green can definitely give Mario Hutcherson a run. I think Nez Green is very good. Is he good enough to beat Mario Hutcherson? Probably not. Am I going to be surprised if that happens? I would be a little surprised, but I would be, I definitely think it can happen. Mario Hutcherson's one of the best guys, not only in the state, in the country. I think, he is on a warpath to do some big things, not only WPIAL West Regional, but in the state. So super excited to see that potential matchup in the finals. All right, 172, as we're going backwards. Connor Morvay, Caleb Kinsey, Shear from Kiski, Fenella from Indiana, another guy who I saw last night. He is pretty good as well. Bedolo from Seneca Valley, Pacelio from Central Catholic, even Barnhart down there for NA. Tell you what, obviously, love me some Morvay and love me some Kinsey. I'm excited to see that matchup. That's what I will say, because these, I feel like for sections, obviously, it is a very big data point to see where these guys are at, and then WPIALs, once you're in the bracket, it's kind of big to see where your spot's at, but then after that, it's kind of like throw it at the wall, man, the next 2 weekends, because it's it's just dog eat dog, really. Sutton Stoner, and what I would deem here the 1 seed, but one of the comeback wrestlers of the WPIAL, guy that was out all last year, and 26-6, won the Southmoreland tournament. Just a guy that I've been impressed with. Weston Emmons from Shaler, Alex Kimbrough from Fox Chapel, Bollinger from Kiski, Donatelli from Indiana, Hernandez from North Allegheny. Even Asher Morvay, I would assume, is the brother of Carter Morvay down there in 160. Pretty good weight class there. Headlined by Sutton Stone. All right. Griff Reed, your 1 seed. Adam Haynes, your 2 seed. Dominic Rowland, your 3 seed. Dylan Thurber, your 4. Overton, your 5. Looking at this weight class, man, I think it's kind of Griff Reed and everyone else. And you guys know that I love me some Griff Reed, and I think he's one of the best dudes in the WPIAL, and I think he has a good chance to be at the top spot next week. Zach Hill, Aiden Tavella, Paul Sermano from North Hills, Sam Passarelli from Mars, Crasta from Fox Chapel, Murphy from Kiski. That young freshman is really good. I've watched him wrestle a couple times. Even Jones there from Pine Richland. He's a young freshman that's pretty good. Good weight class here. Zach Hill is a stud, though. Gotta say that he probably is the favorite. I'm going the wrong way. 139. Olympic Serio, Jackson Pollock, Jonah Cable, Braden Stoll, Matt Kosher, Sean Parks. Tell you what, I saw Serrero a couple times this year at Burgestown and at Max. Kid's damn good. For a freshman at 139, you kind of got to be a little bit of a brute. You got to be really strong. He definitely has that, and he has a bunch of different tricks in the bag, move-wise, that a lot of kids don't see coming. So interesting to see what he does against what I would call, a grizzled veteran in Jackson Pollock, one of the mainstays there, against for Kiski in a potential matchup there in the finals. Got Studiford for North Allegheny, Gavin Murphy, Parker Joseph from Mars, Sully Stoltz from Butler, Sean Murphy from North Hills rounds out your top 6 seeds there. Again, top 6 go to WPIAL. Interested to see Murphy, Studiford, Joseph, Stutz. I think you can't sleep on Stutzy there, but I like Murphy, and I think Studiford is probably the class of that weight, but you can't rule out Parker Joseph, young freshman, 32-8. That's impressive record there. All right, Sloboda, Rohali, Blystone, Hoover, Carroll, Goring, Krushinski from Fox Chapel round out your top 7. Sloboda, the clear class of this weight, not only here but in the WPIAL. Only 1 loss in the year, and I don't see that going to 2 this weekend. All right, 121, Schaumburg, Phipps, Savannah, Spells, Skuzniak, sorry, Tunstall, and Cairns from Seneca Valley round out your top 7. Even you go down to Rawlings, Kings, Shear. There's a couple decent kids down there, even though the records are a little lopsided. Give me Schaumburg in this weight. I think he's going to be pretty good. Savannah has a chance to be pretty, upset some guys there out of the 3 spot, but I really like Schaumburg from NA. Bennett Ferraro. I want to talk about guys I like. One of my favorite guys to watch wrestle in the WPIAL. I think he's just really funky. He does things that are kind of hard to defend, and when he is on the defense, I think he's so hard to score on. So give me Bennett Ferraro in this weight, but there's a couple good kids there. Noel, May, Sears, Montgomery, even from Fox Chapel. All right, last of this weight: Smith, Sinan, Craig, Pateller, Barry. Smith and Sinan, I would say the guys that I would expect to be in the finals, being the 1 and 2 seed there. But it is interesting. Okay, guys. I saved my personal favorite for last. That is the Eastern area seeds. Let's go all the way to the top. Again, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. I know that I'm going a little over. I know that the Penn State-Ohio State match is probably underway at this point, but wanted to get through these sections, man, because this is always an interesting time when we start breaking down, seeing where these kids move and groove between the weight classes. All right, Sal Colangelo, I want to talk about a guy that is on a hot streak and have pulled out some big clutch performances. He is your 1 seed. Grayson Guglielmo is your 2. Luca Butera, who can beat anyone, is your 3. Jeremy Gray is your 4. Jax Brensel is your 5. Morris is your 6. I mean, this weight class is awesome, guys, all the way down there in the top 6. Mahalik, Lodoza, really good weight class there at 107. One of the best weight classes in all of the section right here, especially the top 4. Barrett, Rehak, Fennec, Franks. I mean, my oh my. Those top 4, I believe, are 4 of the top 5 that are ranked in the West region. The only other one being Nick McGarity from Peters Township. So, boy, oh boy, really good weight class. And then you look down, even still, Broadwater from Bell Vernon and Nat from Plum, 2 awesome guys to round out one of the best weight classes of any section in the entire WPIAL. Sidon, Capusta, Colangelo, Gretz, Cordova, Doppelhauer, another awesome weight class. Even Chedwick and Maxwell. You guys know I've seen Maxwell a few times. That 16-19 record. Don't let that fool you. That kid can wrestle as well. Out of Latrobe. This is a really good weight class. Even down Doppelhauer, Cordova, Brett, Scalandi. You guys got it tough out there in the West. I will say that. There's some good stuff there with some of these weight classes. Nolan Rice, DeSantis. Nolan Rice, a guy I saw as well last night. DeSantis there from Penn Trafford, Klippa from Norwin, Carsuccio from Hempfield, LeBrier from TJ, Kelly from Albert Gallatin. I would say it's a 3 or 4 horse race. You cannot roll out LeBrier, but that Rice, DeSantis, Klippa, Carsuccio, good stuff. Tolliver, Haley, Butera, Lynn, King, Lang, Williams, and Overcash in this weight class, top 8. I tell you, Tolliver and Haley are really good. Butera can beat a lot of these guys. Lynn is really good. That Connellsville, they wrestle really tough schedule at 21-12. Keep an eye on that weight class. I think that could be havoc. Blasco, Smith, Washington, Costa, Pigler, Smith, Pull. Are we gonna see another Blasco Smith matchup in the finals? I'm betting on it. Who's gonna win? I have no idea, but I'm excited to see it again. All right, 145. Kai Vioma, Max Firestein, Nathan Klingensmith, Jake Halstead, Justin Stein Grabble from Ringgold, and Douglas Hartcheck from Plum. Even Connor Hoffman down there from Belle Vernon. You got to keep your eye on that at only 1-0. That is a sneaky ad there. As good as Firestein and Klingensmith are, they're not going to beat no Kai Vioma. Just my personal opinion. One of my favorite dudes to watch in the WPIAL. Just a absolute monster. All right, 152. Mikey Ruane, Noah Curran, Owen Campbell, Luke Lilly, Dominic Angeliclio, and Dylan Clayton. Noah Curran, one of the best freshmen in the WPIAL. I think he's kind of slept on there for the Norwin Knights, just obviously part of a fantastic team, but a freshman at 31-8 with the schedule that Norwin wrestles one of the gnarliest schedules in the entire WPIAL. And a freshman at 152 pounds, Kern is going to be a star for a long time in the WPIAL. Okay. Christian Loeffler, Jack White, Jake Lilly, Logan Mastrich, Cooper Dietz, Colby Hibner, Jordan Perks. Really good weight class here, especially the top 6 there, all 25 match winners or above. But you got to look at the top 3 guys here. Even Mastrich is, pretty dang good. 172. LeBrier, Cartwright, Hand, Mitchell, Schaefer, Willis, and Hilliard. I'll tell you what, since LeBrier came down to 172, you could argue he's one of the hottest guys in the entire WPIAL. He has just been wrestling so dang good. I don't think that changes here. Could I be wrong? Sure. Ethan Cartwright's one of the best guys in the weight class here at 172, but if I had to pick right now, LeBrier might be on the short list for me to win the WPIAL title next week. Hunter Snyder, Caden Smith, Ethan McManus, Dylan Lytle, Leroy Corey, and Tanner Schaefer. Hunter Snyder has been one of the best guys in the WPIAL. It feels like he's been around forever. He's only a freaking junior, 33-4. I think one of the few guys that can give Mario Hutchinson a run along with Nez Green. Of course, we've talked about it a few times, that Nez Green Hunter Snyder match. Elijah Brown, Donovan DeLuca, Kale Ott, Nico Dominic, Cameron Dietrich, and Quentin Ansco Bravado from Woodland Hills. One of the best guys in the entire country, in my opinion, Elijah Brown, a guy that's going to Penn State. I don't see any guy kind of sniffing him here at this weight class. And after kind of maybe taking a little bit of a downswing there, I would say by his standards in the middle of the season, he's back and running now, and I fully expect him to be on the charge to get back to his rightful spot on top of the podium in Hershey. All right, John Montgomery, and an interesting move there because we weren't really sure where he was going to be, but he moves up to the heavyweight class. Frankie Gazolius from Plum, the senior there, who's been really impressive. I've seen him a few times. He's at 27-4. Andrew Gabriel from Gateway is your 3. Rockwell is your 4. Fearley from Norwin is your 5. Owens from Latrobe is your 6. So, I think it's a 2-horse race, to be honest with you guys. Can't really rule out Gabriel just looking at that record, but I think Montgomery and Grisolius are going to be on a collision course to meet in the finals. 2 guys that have been really good this year. And it's kind of what I expect. But again, guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Section sections start tomorrow, 6 different sites. So if you're in the area, you want to go watch some wrestling, go check that out. Go support these kids, man. They work hard all year, and this is it. Especially with some of those tough sections, man, to get through and break out to get to WPIALs, I know is a big accomplishment for some of these guys. So we'll see how it all plays out as we start the road to the Giant Center. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Went almost an hour and a half. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Later.